Welcome. Are you ready to deepen the energy even further? So the first two lessons we have focused on the actual imagery of our animal. We've worked from printouts, we've worked from photos, and we are going to continue to do that in the sense that we are going to use those photos and printouts in order to spark our own intuition, to send us down our own rabbit hole, if you will. So I've got my image. Get out some images. If you prefer, hop on Google right now, type in your animal's name, and then click the Images tab. You'll have a ton of images to refer to. And all I want you to do is focus your energy in your body so that we're not up here all spacey. We're grounded, right? And then I want you to start to scan through your photos and notice what jumps out at you. All you need is some scrap paper. This is just some scrap paper and a, utensil to write with. This is a water-soluble oil pastel. You can use a Sharpie, a marker, a pen, a pencil. It doesn't matter. This is just to collect our own resonant imagery. So when I look at this photo of my giraffe, which is again the animal I'm working with, the things that jump out at me are the horns, the peak of the forehead, the floppy ears, the eyelashes, the nostrils almost make a heart shape, and then the lovely smile and spots. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've just sketched out the shapes that I'm drawn to. And these don't need to be exactly representative of the animal. It's whatever inspires you. This is another sheet where I was marking off the little antler nubs, the lines, the wavy lines in the forehead, the peaks of the forehead, just kind of an eye shape which almost turns into a spiral, the flowing lines of the ears, the heart of the nostrils, and then these lines were inspired by the vertical lines of the little horns. Just another pattern that I felt inspired to put down on my paper. And the same thing, this was like the mouth shape, which almost turns into a bird or a wave. You get the idea. So we've gathered these images. And if you need to pause the video now to go ahead and do this for yourself, you can spend as much or as little time doing this as you like. Once you come back, or if you've already done that in 5 seconds, which is possible because, we're not thinking, we're inspired, so it can happen very quickly. I'm taking out my little mixed media pad, and I'm not even going to rip a page out this time. I'm just going to use, because this is thick paper, I'm not worried about damaging all the rest of the pages. And I am just going to work intuitively with this imagery. Now you can get out whatever media you want. I am feeling inspired to use watercolors right now. You're welcome to use watercolors. You are welcome to use oil pastels, paint markers, crayons, pencil. I also show a lot these acrylic paints, which I get at Walmart because that's the only real store in my little town that has things like art supplies. And so we're just going to play, and I'm just going to demo. Again, use the media that brings you joy. If you don't like watercolors, please don't use watercolors. If you don't like pen and pencil, scratch the pen and pencil. Get out your crayons. Get out something that brings you joy. If you want to go out and purchase a new art supply, and you've just thought of one that you want to try, stop the video right now, get out to the store, get your art supply, and come back and let's play. So I'm just tilting the video down. I'm not videoing this one on my phone, so it's a little bit different. And all I'm going to do is I've got my water brush, and I am just going to play with these shapes. So I am referring to the pages that I have created. And all I'm doing is using the colors that I'm drawn to. And I'm just going to be inspired by those shapes that I saw. Because the whole goal of this is not literal representation. The goal of this is deepening the energy, which we know is on so many levels, and often we're not even conscious. I just feel intuitively like adding some watercolor up here. My water brush. And I'm actually going to spray. I'm using this water bottle to spray my paper because I want to get a little more looseness in the color since I am using watercolor. The next thing I'm drawn to is kind of this mouth shape, which is almost like kind of a leaf shape. So I'm just gonna use that kind of a leaf shape with even a leaf color. I'm intuitively choosing colors that I want to use, remembering that all of these shapes resonate with us. That's why we were drawn to put them on the paper. And so if it resonates with you, there's something in there for you. There's a wisdom in there for you, an energy in there for you, something that you are being gifted. And so by putting those gifts into tangible form, we have embodied that energy. You could put this on your altar. You could put this on your wall. You could make copies. You could create as many of these as you like. And as long as you're setting the intention, to be bringing this animal wisdom through, we're connecting with the animal wisdom and we're bringing it through. You can't go wrong. The key is really the trust and the belief and the feeling. And if you're not feeling anything, stop and reconnect and imagine that you're feeling connected and then act from there. If I were feeling connected, what would I paint? What would I draw? What would I do? Pretend that you're feeling connected and then just continue to paint. So now I'm just making these little marks as if they were the spots because I'm inspired by the spots and the idea of these dynamic shapes. I'm actually going to put one up there too. There is no right or wrong. You can do this as many times as you like. I apologize for the dogs barking. That's what happens when you live in a house with dogs and you live in a small space. All right, so I am feeling complete with that shape. Now I am drawn to this heart, the heart in spirals. And in terms of color, I'm feeling kind of drawn to the purple and the pink. So I'm actually going to make this big and referring to my sheet to see which way the spiral went. And again, you can do this with any media you like. This is just a demonstration of how I am creating with the imagery. There we go. Just allowing that to come through, and I feel kind of like I need to reuse that spiral, so just the spiral by itself. Again, I'm just playing. This is not meant to be a gallery work of art. This is meant to embody the energy of my animal medicine. And now I am switching from the watercolors because I feel compelled to add some paint. And so all I do when I'm intuitively choosing my paint colors is I just reach into my bin of all my little craft paints and pull out the ones that my hand is drawn to. So I've got, and I happen to have a glass desk, so I use it as my palette, and then I just re-wet the paint and it scrapes right off with a razor when I'm done. So these are the colors that came through, and I am just feeling like I want to add some color, some more of this color to my art. And it's okay that I'm smudging. I am using water-based media, so it is going to smudge. But you never lose what you've created, right? With the energy, we've got the energetic component. You never lose it. It's always in the layers. It's always there. So don't freak out if you cover up something. I liked those spirals in that little heart. You can always bring it back. See how I can bring it back? You can always paint it again. You can always draw it again. And if your media is getting too wet and things start to get a little muddy or sloppy, get out another piece of paper and start creating a new piece while this one dries. And then you can come back and add more on top, not in a forced way, just only if you feel compelled. And now those spots are coming back. I'm inspired by the spots, but I'm creating dots instead of the literal kind of square rectangular spots. So just allow yourself to be inspired and allow yourself to create. You can do this as long as you want. I am going to go ahead and flip to the next page and let this one dry. And I'm going to go right to this paint and play with more of those shapes. So this is kind of that ear shape. And I'm dipping my finger in another color and just layering that on top. So this is that wavy shape of the ear. Again, my intention is, oh yeah, I've got those lines that I drew, those vertical lines inspired by the vertical lines of the horn. And more of this. Oh, I can make the forehead, that peak of the forehead, inspired by that. And then we've got that very abstracted, you know, the forehead, or the top of the head of the giraffe, and then the horns, but I've added lots of lines because I feel very drawn to that shape. What else I feel? And I feel like I need to do another sort of wave up here. So they don't have to be the colors of the animal. They don't have to be, they don't have to look like the animal at all. If you looked at this piece, you wouldn't assume giraffe. If you looked at this piece, you wouldn't assume giraffe. But the energy's there. And remembering that this is the imagery that spoke to me, because we're all unique. We're all on our different journeys. And we could all have the giraffe as an animal coming through for wisdom right now. And the reasons for that would be totally different. There is no one right and wrong answer. We're all unique. And that is why I'm having you tap into, you know, the imagery that is calling to you, as opposed to trying to do something in particular. Now I'm feeling called to pick up my oil pastels, my water-soluble oil pastels. And I just feel like adding, and almost like, I don't know, that reminds me of Harry Potter, the little, the snitch in the golden snitch in Quidditch. But I've got more of those lines coming through. And so I'm just honoring it. Now it's almost looking like a spider. But I am just allowing that to be. And now I feel like I need to do there. And then I need some more orange. Feeling more orange coming in. And then this is becoming almost like a flame. And that's intuitive. I mean, I'm just using the shapes that I was drawn to based on my animal medicine. I'm not trying to do anything in particular. So, and then this can dry, and I can always add more to it. Again, those spots are coming through. And I'm just playing with the color. Intuitively, just whichever colors I feel drawn to pick up. And then I feel like I need more, I still need more of this orange. More of this orange. And I'm just going to draw right into the paint up here. And again, you can do this as much or as little as you feel drawn. Kind of getting that smearing going on there. Remembering that you're always keeping the energy of the layers that came before. Even if you end up covering something up, you're still keeping that energy. And that alchemy is still happening. All right, so these are just two quick little pieces. I could keep going forever, but my goal is just to give you a springboard to help you jump off and see and feel what is coming through, and to really be able to jump in and bring through the elements of your animal's energy and medicine and wisdom that are going to be most supportive for you. So that is the ultimate intention. Yeah, there we go. So completely abstract. Completely abstract. Again, just referring to the shapes that I felt compelled to draw based on roughly just gazing at my photo and noticing what I was drawn to. So we've got this little abstracted piece, and we've got this abstracted piece. And again, you can always go back and add more layers after they dry. As I mentioned in the previous lessons, we are working with this energy. So it's likely that your journey is going to allow you to evolve, and there are going to be new pieces that jump out at you, new words, new phrases, new symbols. Maybe you'll start journaling and something from your spirit animal will come through and you will want to add that to one of your pieces. So it is completely up to you. A lot of people like to create these abstract pieces and then go back and add words on top, like writing. For instance, this is not dry, so this is going to be messy. Say I came back, got my Sharpie. Say I came back and I felt like growth. Growth is a word that was coming through. So then maybe I just wanted to add growth to my page, right? And it doesn't have to be in any order. It doesn't have to look good. Maybe another one, embrace is coming through. It's just a word that pops into mind, so then I add embrace. So maybe once this is dry, you go through and you add words that are powerful to you. But the key is not to think. I don't want you to feel like, oh God, I have to come up with words. Oh God, I have to come up with this picture. I want you to listen and I want you to respond. So it's completely about your resonance and how you are energetically matching up with that animal, which is allowing in certain wisdom, certain medicine, certain guidance. So you are already paired up with the guidance and the wisdom and the energy that you need. And all we're doing is bringing that into a tangible form, because everything can be out here, in the ethers, in the spirit realm. But until we bring it into the physical, we can't do anything with it. Just like in manifestation, taking action is so important, because it's one thing to visualize and meditate, but if we don't bring it into the physical and take action, taking action is also what we're doing by creating art with the animal medicine. Without that action, without that grounded physical piece in the 3D realm, we are not going to see the transformation. And we're here to be in this realm on the 3D physical plane. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not always pleasant, but we're always here learning and growing and evolving, which is why you're here, because that's what you choose to do. So have fun with these abstracted images. I can't wait to see what you create.